Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2020. I'm Atlas. I am joined by LS for a wonderful Wednesday of video games. Starting off with an absolute banger of a match, DAMWON versus T1. If you remember back, this was the MSC match that basically kicked T1 out of the tournament.
Yeah, well, DAMWON has been on a bit of a roller coaster in their gameplay, but they've been looking much more in form with the DAMWON of old.
Yeah. Not
really the DAMWON of spring. And I think that's going to make today's matchup a little bit exciting. And this is also going to be another important one for T1, who have been up and down as well. I mean, this is pretty shaky, but both teams, obviously, two of the favorites in the league.
Yeah, and I feel like this week is a week about Gen G and T1, to be perfectly honest. Both of them coming in at 3-1. Both of them are only falling to DRX. As you can see, DRX still top of the standings with a 4-0 record. Their game score, not super great because they like to go the distance with the majority of their matches. Only 1-2-0 under their belt at the moment. But T1 and Gen G all tied up in 4th place. The only tie that we have remaining after week 2. And it could honestly still be a tie at the end of the week with only head-to-head coming between these two teams because they will be facing off on Friday.
Yeah, and I mean, DAMWON, they really want to get this win over T1 underneath their belt. The RX is really escaping a lot of these teams right now with their current standings. Obviously, their points might not be the most impressive. They're tied with DAMWON, but they are 4-0. And Gen G is going to play later on tonight, and they should be slated to be super heavy favorites against
100%.
Sandbox.
Yeah, we might be speedrunning our way out of here tonight, Ellis. To be perfectly honest, you might be home before midnight. As we have a look at the POG standings, Mystics still out in front at 400 points. They were all back-to-back in his first 4 matches, so definitely very impressive there from him. But Beryl's catching up, 3 of them on his support pantheon, and we'll see whether that's going to be looked at as far as the draft is concerned in our first match. And then Rich and BDD coming in 3rd and 4th, also on 400 points. So I guess they're not 3rd and 4th, they're just also in 1st. There's a lot of 400s. It's the 400 club.
And honestly, it's very impressive for Beryl. Getting it as support is usually pretty hard.
Yeah, and also getting it on a team with Showmaker and Noguri who steal away pogs every single chance that they get. We're going to have a look at the pick ban stats. Currently, Varus is 50-50, which is absolutely on Sandbox. They decided to play lethal tempo, and that's going to mean that the Varus is going to lose.
Yeah, and Trundle, I mean, he's down there 100%. I think this is one of the more hilarious champions that keeps getting banned away or picked as much as he is. Currently 5-10, 33% win rate. Karma, obviously very scary. Varus, I expect to be permabanned in all of the games tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe Sandbox or something will get a funny idea, but I really doubt it. And then Callista, she's there as well. And the other interesting thing is T1 is, I believe, 100% win rate on blue side.
Yes, they are.
Currently their win record. And
they have 5 wins on blue side, 0 wins.
Both of these teams, DAMWON and T1, are particularly bad at playing red side, which is so peculiar because in a meta where so many counter picks and inherently better team comps are more powerful, you would figure red side would be more advantageous.
Not to mention, there's Noguri you can counter pick for who has a champion Ocean. Showmaker's exactly the same, exactly right. And even Beryl, who has this eclectic support champion pool, can counter pick for bottom lane. They have like 3 very, very good counter pickable players on their team, and they haven't been able to make red side work nearly as well as their blue side. One of these teams, though, theoretically, could be losing on blue side here tonight unless T1 goes for that 2-1 victory with a win in games 1 and 3, then theoretically we could still have that blue side win rate working out for both of these guys. But maybe we'll see something change as the clash between the two teams with the highest average kill numbers. Hell yeah, we're getting more bloodthirsty here in the LCK for the Summer Split.
Well, and we'll also see Kana versus Noguri, and I mean, I feel like that should be a slaughter. Even the solo player of the game versus in the Sandbox series, that was good for Kana against Summit.
Yeah.
However, Sandbox, obviously, as a whole, having enormous amounts of problems right now. It's the Mariana Trench over there.
It's certainly, there are some depths.
Yeah.
There are definitely some depths. There are some creatures down there that we don't necessarily even understand yet because we can't handle the pressure in our submarines. But we'll see whether DAMWON and T1 can give us an actual showing that can breathe some new hope into the LCK, because we've had some messy games. We've had some games that have made us wonder whether we're up to the caliber of regions like the LPL and to a lesser extent the LEC. And I'm looking forward to seeing whether we're going to get another pop-off from Showmaker. This guy is, I need to have a look just to make sure that he's still rank 1, and he is. He's rank 1 and 3 in solo queue at the moment. Still going to be that solo queue god. As soon as you get him on your team, you realize you're just going to win. But this is the really interesting stat. Yeah. T1, you know their dominance over this year and last year, but DAMWON have beaten them the majority of the time, and recently as well.
Yeah, and I mean, DAMWON, it's surprising, even in 2020 spring, they actually managed to get the leg up, and it's been favoring them for quite some time now. Obviously, these summer playoffs, we don't talk about T1 playoffs because they always manage to figure out ways to really just blow through everything, but
these are some decent stats here for DAMWON.
Yeah.
Average win time of 26 minutes, by the way. That's extraordinary. Their last match against KT, they broke the fastest game record by getting a 23-minute and 30-second win, and then they broke that record again in Game 2 by winning in 21 minutes. So this is a team that does not screw around. Let's just say that. They get down to winning real fast, and that's with compositions that involve Kassadin getting pentakills at the 18-minute mark.
Yep.
It's dumb.
It absolutely is. And, yeah, I mean, a little bit surprising, DAMWON here. Only first place is like, you have to wonder if there's something better.
Are we impressed yet? I don't even know. All right, guys. Well, this is going to be your starting roster. It's not going to be Cuz in the jungle. It's going to be, once again, LM playing for that more early game style. He has certainly popped off. I think he was sitting at like 36 KDA or something in back-to-back Olaf games, then played back-to-back Trundle games, and he's still remaining on like an 18 KDA overall throughout the season. So very, very good performance thus far. Kana getting the solo pog, though, is what we need to be talking about, because as we move over to DAMWON, it's Noguri that he has to contend with, and I expect Kana to get solo kills in the lane, but I don't know whether that means anything, because Noguri still wins after that.
Yeah. We'll see how many isolated deaths Noguri can manage to get here today.
Yep, he's racking them up like it's something that he's proud of at the moment.
Well, there we go. Let's take it. They didn't put it here.
Solo kills instead of isolated deaths. Right. I guess this is like when you have a play, and in your mind you're thinking, oh wow, that guy really messed up. Yeah. But instead you're like, oh, look at the other guy though, nailing it. But this is an incredible stat for Kana. This is LCK first, not even just top lane first.
Yeah.
He has the most solo kills in the LCK at the moment. And Kana, for such a young player, for a rookie, coming in 2020, we remember when he debuted for the top lane in the Kesper Cup.
Yeah.
I got a message from Joe Marsh, and he's like, we got a bit of a surprise for you, my dude. And he's been certainly very impressive since his inception in this team.
Yeah, he's been doing extremely good. And he's been very sturdy.
Which is that damage per death, by the way, for Noguri?
Damage percent? Which one?
The third last stat.
Oop, I panned away. Well, another key player.
I don't know what that stat is. Maybe our producer can let me know. I'm not very good at knowing like which letters mean what in a lot of things. It's actually, it's not really my thing. That and mathematics is certainly not my forte. As we're going to move over to our second key player matchup, Faker versus Showmaker. And Showmaker, yeah, the stats don't lie. This guy is an absolute god of the mid lane at the moment. We know that this guy has been trashing solo queue. I just spoke about it. We talk about it every single time because he's been keeping this account at rank 1 throughout this entire season.
And what patch is today on, Alice?
It's 10-12. I think.
All right. Well,
we haven't seen any patch notifications, so still sitting on 10-12.
Unfortunate. AP Kog'Maw was recently buffed, and Showmaker is one of the most active users of it, historically.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Mostly in solo queue as well. It's like whispers of his AP Kog'Maw. as we've got Meditating Canna here towards the top side. Understanding, I think, that this matchup is weird. And he spoke about it. I do have sort of his words, but I'll paraphrase for you. He basically said that Noguri is a scary opponent, but in lane I can beat him. And I think what that says more than anything else is that the laning phase isn't exactly where Noguri wins. Noguri wins after that, where he's killing the rest of your team, and it's not necessarily about you. But here we are into ban and pick for game number 1. T1 on our blue side, so theoretically, if you guys look at the stats, they're going to win, because both of these teams only lose on red side.
Yeah. Well, let's see if DAMWON can manage to upset T1 streak on blue.
Where's the Varus man? There it is.
There it is, yeah. Now, I saw Wada tweet before the game. He was asking for something a little bit unorthodox, and, you know, I told him that here at the LCK, we like to spice things up a bit. We do like to, you know, a couple of B1 Callistas, maybe a little
we do
Ezreal Aphelios.
I think that mainly leaving Aphelios and Ezreal up, and then picking Ezreal at B1 is ideal. Well, obviously.
Exquisite, honestly, yeah.
And then you...
How about an R4 Lee Sin?
R4 Lee Sin's pretty good. I do love R1 and 2 Ezreal Karma, though.
Okay.
That's my dream.
Okay.
We've seen that be catastrophic and amazing. DRX, though, who made it work most recently, did so with a draft that you would have been appalled by, and then watching them win with it would have been even more frustrating. As Syndra is going to be banned away, mostly aimed at Ghost. Ghost does like dodging laning phase by picking these more eclectic picks down there. His Ziggs was very good. His Syndra was okay, but so far on patch 10.12, Syndra's been a bit of a trap here in the LCK. As DAMWON just looking for that Karma button. I don't know whether they're going to be able to find it, as it is going to be set instead. So we've got Aphelios, Callista, Ezreal, Karma, so many big picks.
Yeah.
Trundle also available, but Teddy's Callista finds minions on the map that aren't actually there, I'm pretty sure. He Flame Horizoned his own top laner at like 25 minutes. It's ridiculous what this guy does on the Callista to make sure that he hits those mid-game spikes. Ezreal Karma, boys. Come on, let's find it.
The really interesting thing about this matchup also in particular is that one of Callista's biggest counters is Draven, and Ghost is one of the Draven players in Korea, but no, we're not gonna
I already told you. I already told you what we're seeing. Yeah.
Give me it. One more. R2 Karma.
Yeah, give me that R2 Karma. I like how we memed about the B1 Callista and the Ezreal.
I mean,
it's Ezreal Trundle!
Perfect.
I think it might be even... No, I don't know whether it's even worse. But certainly does help deny Canna going towards something like an Ornn very easily, which he does like to default to. As, okay, so they could Olaf Taric, and that could be pretty good. Ezreal face up into the Trundle is an old decision to make, where we saw a lot of Lee Sins just picked to deal with the Trundle. And LM certainly plays around very well in the early game, so I don't mind the idea.
Well,
okay, Callista Nautilus, in theory.
The Lee Sin obviously has not had a lot of success in LCK for many good reasons. And the peculiar thing here is that T1, even though they're seeing an Ezreal and a Trundle that's coming in as an answer to the Callista and should dissuade hard on engage, T1 are just dialing down, or, well, they're buckling down, I should say.
Yep.
And now they're going to pick up the Bard.
I actually quite like it out of DAMWON, especially seeing the jungler come in. The Trundle does deny some of these more tanky compositions. And Ezreal Bard is very self-sufficient. That's exactly how DAMWON want to play. They want to get Beryl out of that lane, get him roaming around, and allow him to make those plays. And I think Beryl certainly has been stepping up with his play in recent weeks. I think that's why DAMWON is so scary, right? It's that Canyon's playing well and that Beryl's playing very well, and so it's not just the Noguri and Showmaker show.
And we'll have to see who they're going to actually reserve the counter pick for here in mid and top. It would be very interesting to have a flex champion come in on R4 against T1. Zoe.
It's so strange.
Not getting banned away.
We see no Yumis or anything like that. It was Bard picked up over the Yumi. Not going to have priority there. And Karma hasn't been looked at all throughout this draft. Could be something that DAMWON do pick at 4th pick on red side, but I don't really want to see Noguri or Showmaker playing it, to be honest. It's not their style of champion. It's not the playmaker that you want to see. As there's LeBlanc.
Yep.
And this could be a very easy Karma to be picked up by T1 if they want it.
Well, we will see if this will be the R4 Karma that could come in here. Has to be a champion that obviously can come in blind, but should respond to the hard engage and short range on the side of T1.
Well, Wukong does make some sense. Certainly a strong top lane champion and will help with their team fights. I like Wukong paired with Ezreal as well.
Yep.
Allowing you to dive and then have your AD carry be more self-sufficient. And plus, Wukong Bard is disgusting, especially if you land a Tempered Fate and then the monkey just walks into the middle of everyone and says, yoo-hoo, and then everyone dies, basically. All right, the Mordekaiser trap coming in once again. As Canna will... Oh no, okay, so it's Nico instead. This could be for Faker, but also could be for Canna on the top side. We saw Rascal play this already this season. And range versus melee is certainly something that can be made work, especially with the amount of self-peel that you do have with your E. Oh, is it happening? Is it happening already? Please tell me Faker's playing mid Kog'Maw. And it's blind as... Okay, never mind. Faker's playing his famous Nico in the mid lane, and we've got Mordekaiser at the top. Yep. Look, we could have dreamt, you know, it was a beautiful thing to think about, because that could have also been Kalista top with Kog'Maw on the bottom side as well, but not happening there as Showmaker thinking about going back to his famous Corki. Oh. All right.
Karma.
The Karma does keep things still very interesting, because if it was Karma, I'd be expecting there to be a Wukong in the mid lane. That's Silas, okay.
Is going to come in here, and this is a bit surprising. Silas does have some pretty good ultimates on the side of T1 that he can make use of, and there's a lot of good damage spread on the side of DAMWON. T1's team composition is very spiky at around 2.5 items, but I also can't imagine how they're supposed to actually threaten DAMWON over Soul Point or something of that nature, so it's very confusing to me. The other thing is that DAMWON's champions tend to go the distance a lot more.
Yeah.
Ezreal obviously goes all the way up to 4 or 5 items with his boots. Kalista's going to start tapering off this game around 2.5, 3 items.
This
Wukong,
is yeah. For me, it looks like DAMWON's composition is just more cohesive, right? It just looks like you understand what they're trying to do. This is a dive comp that you can use to augment it with something like the Bard. Getting those Tempered Fates in the right position is going to be very important, but it could also just win them a team fight, right?
Yes.
And Pop Blossom's a fantastic ultimate to steal. Death Realm is a really interesting one to steal as well. And Depth Charge needs no introduction when it comes to stealing ultimates, so... This is a really cool comp coming out from DAMWON, but pretty standard on the side of T1. And what they've shown is that you give T1, like, if they're within a couple of standard deviations of their opponent's composition, they can just be better players on the day.
Yep.
And it's likely that we see the amount of mastery that Faker has on Nico, that Teddy has on Kalista, just reign supreme in this matchup.
Well, game is going to start here. I think DAMWON has enough of a late game edge to where things should be fine, but in addition to that, I think there's a lot of good skill expression that is handed over to Nuguri, at least in regards to this matchup in particular, where I think it should be fine enough for them, but we'll see again if they can manage to convert it into a win. Lee Sin does not have really any kick targets. There's no one for him to kick. It's going to be near impossible to get onto Ezreal. You get onto Silas later on. He's going to have Zhonya's Hourglass, or he's going to have an ultimate prepared. You get onto Trundle, and, well, he's super tanky. He's going to subjugate Pillar. Wukong, he's just going to cast his ultimate. So it's very hard to play Lee Sin in this game.
Yeah, and actually, if you kick Wukong, you're basically just losing your team that fight, right? Because it's it's a free Nimbus strike in the end. So it can be quite scary. But you can see no shenanigans in the earlier stages. Some wards just for defensive purposes in the bottom side. River for T1, as Showmaker finds himself once again in a melee versus ranged matchup. And this is a stat that I was looking for. Faker, his Nico stats are damn impressive. He was, in fact, probably one of the best Nico players we've ever seen as far as utilizing her passive is concerned. He plays the mind games. He does the funny business that really does separate the great from the good as far as Nico players are concerned.
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Few players that actually actively utilizes Nico's passive. And we'll see what he ends up doing. This is going to be a very awkward game to try to play Nico with. It's going to be very difficult for him to get flanks off, but his ultimate is going to be super useful against Trundle and Wukong.
Well, that's a lot of damage. Exhaust going to be used there as Teddy not going to find the rend onto Beryl. That's why that exhaust came in, to make sure that Beryl had enough time to outrange it. But that is still summon a spell down at level 1. Only now is level 2 being picked up. As we have a look at Ghost stats. Really interesting. Just the fact that Ghost is such a role player for this team means that Teddy, yes, he will have run of this lane, but it's not about bottom lane for any DAMWON match. As Kanna's going to get the worst end of that trade, but we're expecting that as far as the Wukong and Mordekaiser matchup is concerned. Varaspa comes in and Noguri uses it as a bit of a taxi, but you can see Kanna utilizing his passive very well.
And overall doing stuff pretty okay right now. Elem's
another max range dredge line as that magical journey was beautiful. Beryl should be able to find a Q, but no, it was on cooldown. And that's going to get him out of the way of Elim's Sonic Wave and save the life of Beryl on the bottom side of the map.
And you can see now Trundle, he's going to move over onto the left-hand side. And interestingly enough, Noguri ended up doing a cheater recall. Ooh. We don't get to see them that often here.
This is very exciting.
In the LCK. We'll see how it pans out for him. Trundle now in close proximity to top. Now Mordekaiser is able to push really fast.
Yep.
So the wave does go into the turret. Some champions is obviously going to be less effective against than others.
As Effort lands another one, which is just extremely impressive. I think it's 3 for 3 as far as dredge lines are concerned, most of them being max range. Really good stuff here from the T1 support. As you can see, Noguri didn't miss out on too much when it comes to the farm, and he should be able to get this wave in a good position. Is he going to cheat a recall, then freeze?
Well,
could you imagine?
It's slow pushing now.
Yeah, it's slow pushing. He's not going to be able to do it.
So, because the wave went into Wukong's turret, they're reinforcing. Yeah.
I got a little bit overexcited just after the cheetah recall had occurred. And he's gone soldier build as well, Noguri, stepping into the DRX top laner's shop, collecting himself most of Doran's stuff. And we'll see whether that's going to help him out. Kanna instead just going for the double cloth armor, and pretty comfortably going to build that into a Seeker's Arm Guard. As Effort lands another max range dredge line. Beautiful.
Right here up in top lane, as this wave arrives, Wukong needs to just hard shove in the wave.
Yep.
Because obviously Mordekaiser will threaten to try to freeze it if he takes it too slow. And he can just ignore Kana because he has too much HP, there's too many minions, Kana won't actually take a trade, and now he can back up and recall again. If he wants to, that should be the play. And no, he's actually going to go on a bit of an adventure. So also does the push a little too slow. Yeah, big trade.
Yeah, nice trade back there from Faker as Showmaker finds yet another one. Kingslayer certainly does warp this matchup just a little bit because you can keep yourself sustained relatively well as the Silas. Another one comes through as there is a magical journey for Ghost to take. And he'll go grab himself some hot cocoa, or at least it should be hot cocoa, but I guess the astronaut bard skin is very, very
You have
cool.
candies.
Yeah. Candies are pretty cool. I still like the cocoa the best.
True.
Maybe I'm just old-fashioned like that.
It's alright. Not a big deal. Cocoa does taste very nice.
Well, first strike's going to be a Cloud. Ellen's going to take that one away right now. Gold looking very, very even at this stage of the game. Both of these teams probably wanting to wait until about 2 items to fight anyway, just as a rule. But we haven't had too many skirmishes. Certainly doesn't work out for someone like Lee Sin, who does want to be tussling early. As Showmaker's just going to abduct his way out of the snare from Faker.
And, I mean, all the lanes have, except for bottom, have been going pretty normal. Nothing really too exciting. And come second Dragon, it should be a tipping point enough for mid and bot lane to threaten that one. So DAMWON should be looking to get that Infernal. Everything else aside, though, not a whole lot is happening.
Yeah, and if we remember back to the last time these two teams faced, I believe it was a 45-minute game between T1 and DAMWON that DAMWON stole in the end back at MSC. So certainly both of these squads know how to go the distance against one another. But the fact that DAMWON were able to win in the late game like that against a team like T1 was the thing that was so impressive. So I know there's a lot of T1 fans that are watching this thinking, oh, it's an even game, you know, in this early game. That's only going to be good. But against DAMWON, I think that you can ask a few extra questions about this. At least historically, anyway. As Canna does have this wave shoved in. But Noguri just happily scaling on his Wukong.
Yeah, and lots of wards just being placed down. Not a whole lot of action yet again.
So I guess I can ask you, you know, what you've been up to on your esports weekend, Monday.
Well, I've been, you know, I mean, the co-streams,
which
you are invited to any time, by the way.
All right.
All right. I mean, you know, we could maybe cast one.
I reckon that sounds cool. That sounds real cool.
And yeah, other than that, really not too much. I've been coaching Michaela.
All right, nice.
Tyler One's girlfriend.
Yeah. I think I saw a little bit of that stream. Yeah. How's that going? Is she progressing well?
Well, you know, I mean, she's finally playing Annie, so everything is fine there. Yeah, it's normally 50 games, but maybe out of 0. we're gonna get there, you know.
Well, Ellen looks to be able to take... okay. Canyon clearing out some vision. DAMWON know exactly what's going on here, so it's going to be a 50-50 on Shelly. She goes down to about 1,500. Canyon not wanting to go further forward. He had Subjugate. Probably could have kept himself alive, but no. DAMWON going to play it safe. His Barrel's going to turn up towards this bottom side. Teddy here just by himself. It's going to be absolutely fine. Barrel just helping to push this wave forward. Through the barrage, it's going to sort out the minions that Ghost feels like taking, and he's going to look for a recall here as well. Did manage to pick up a bit of a CS advantage, and as you can see, DAMWON, based on the fact that T1 did rotate up for Herald, DAMWON are going to be in the lead by about 400 gold. That should turn, but these are the sacrifices that we make for picking up Shelly and Shirley.
Well, we'll see what DAMWON are going to eventually do in this game in about a minute and a half. That's when the Infernal is going to come up. Ezreal does have his Monomune already. Fieldwater. I'm unsure where exactly Teddy's gold is at right now at this point in time. Kana playing it very safe. Also, I really like his itemization. He went for the Bramble Vest.
Yeah, that's really what I was oohing about before, yeah.
Don't like Nuguri's itemization. It's a Black Cleaver with a lot of teammates that deal a whole lot of magic damage and an opposing team that doesn't build any armor, so Trinity Force would just do so much.
Yeah.
But not quite sure.
It's a very strange one. Just maybe for the lane matchup, wanting to make sure that this Bramble Vest isn't going to ruin Nuguri's day too much, but that's sort of the only thing that I can really see that could be a benefit. Canyon moving into the river here, puts down a control ward, and we'll be able to remove Canna's one pretty immediately, unless he deems it a little bit too unsafe, which is where he is right now. There are 3 Lee Sins on the map for that small window of time. But Faker is going to stop being confusing as finally Ghost finds his E button at the correct time. And Nuguri once again has a minion wave at exactly the point that he wants. Could be a freeze potentially if he wants to, but those minions are pretty low. Canna's going to move on down and look to clear out this control ward. Alright, Canyon just jumps in on top. LM already in the river though, as the Death Realm is utilized. Teleports come through from DAMWON. Now is Canna looking to try and get out of here. His own Death Realm actually ruining things for him, as that's not the real one. And LMs are everywhere on this map right now. Lee Sin's just swimming through the river, left, right, and center.
Now, this does mean that Teddy and Effort should be able to start up the Infernal Dragon, though, completely for free. And yeah, Ellum, he's just going to run down here. He's going to help them confirm it.
That looks all too easy, as it looks like DAMWON not even that interested in fighting for Drakes at this stage. They just want to get onto Canna, who doesn't have Death Realm. Should be a kill, but this might be a kill as well. Depth Charge comes in, Tempered Fate comes down at exactly the wrong time. And now Canna's going to have to vacate the area, but there's a teleport lying in wait, as Ellum will teleport in. That is, of course, Faker, guys. But I just like reading what's on the screen.
Yep.
Barrel should be able to find Ellum here. I think he knows what's going on.
Well,
just wait. Oh, wow, that was very, very close. Cosmic Binding is going to land. Kick back there. It's a lot of fear as Showmaker comes down into the river. That was very, very strange what happened just there, as he hijacked a depth charge, I believe, but it didn't really do too much. It was very strange.
Yeah. And right now, I mean, T1 are just in a very good position. Ocean Drake's coming up in 4 minutes. And they've managed to, they've managed to have very good control over the game thus far. Let's take a look at how this even happened. So, you know that Teddy and Effort are missing, and Ghost just very, very far up in the lane. That is a very bread and butter kill.
Oh yeah.
The timing
on the Ren just beautiful. Able to confirm that kill before the Tempered Fate even came down, and now that money is going to continue pouring in, as we've got only a few seconds until the plates are down, but Shelly is going to be able to grab a whole bunch of crockery out of this top lane outer turret, and Effort's here looking for a potential dive as well as a dredge line. Not going to be the greatest, but Effort didn't actually touch Noggery, so he's going to be tanking up the turret still. They're going to be able to get his flash. There's the flash forward. And Effort is well and truly dead. Abscond is going to lock down that one onto the Nautilus. So, I mean, that is certainly punishment for not finding a dredge line.
Yeah. And they picked themselves up a kill, and interestingly enough, I mean, the gold score is even, despite T1 getting so many edges.
Yeah, having so much control around this map as well.
So, getting the kill onto Showmaker, very big right now for DAMWON. T1, they do crash in the Rift Herald. I don't know what Effort was going for, ever, in a million years.
Yeah.
He flashes away. He also ends up blowing his stopwatch, which is very unfortunate. Showmaker was able to land that knock-up, get the kill for himself, and now at this point in the game, I mean, we're still dead even in gold. T1 ahead by 100. They do have the Infernal Dragon, 2.5 minutes until that Ocean. And when that Dragon does end up fighting, the big question is Ghost going to have Miramana?
That depth charge went a very, very long way, as Showmaker going to be able to move out of it relatively quickly. Still had Proto Belt available, so a lot of maneuverability there for Silas. But you're right, I actually think that this next Ocean Drake fight is going to be very, very telling as to how this game is going to go. Because if DAMWON can start stacking up Drakes, not only is it going to massively delay Souls, it'll also let them get to a later game that they're very happy to get to.
Well, Ocean is also a very big problem for T1's comp, which is very skirmishy.
Yeah.
So sustained team fights, if DAMWON can end up getting multiple of them, is going to be pretty bad news bears. Nuggery is also very far ahead in the XP department. He is about 55-60% to level 12. Kana still 10.
Yeah.
And the wave is in an awful spot. They're going to rotate to Rift Herald, and just look at the items across the board right now, and the fact that Nuggery is going to arrive first with the rank 2 ultimate.
Yeah, this is actually really scary. Magical Journey will get DAMWON all the way over here, as Shirley is going to be disengaged from. And there's an Ellen, seemingly face-checking, but it's going to be Faker, just scouting around, making sure that he knows exactly what's going on. DAMWON with a lot of vision in this area. This Ghost will pick up this minion wave towards the top side. The bottom lane just being neglected by both sides. And I think, DAMWON were getting ready for a fight, but T1 not looking to try and take it here at this stage.
And, well, at this point, we're probably just going to have ping pong for another 30 seconds or so. Wukong has picked up a Sheen, so, it's going to be Black Cleaver into Trinity Force. Now, I'm not sure why the invert wasn't done.
It also seems a bit strange when you want to build Death's Dance And I remember this was very popular when Wukong was freshly reworked. This Black Cleaver Trinity Force idea. Look, it's odd. The Rage passive doesn't stack, makes me very upset. I don't like wasted statistics. But it's a pretty comfortable way to get to 40% CPR. Could be Iceborne Gauntlet for some weird reason, but highly doubt.
Well, he picked up another longsword, so I imagine that's going to be for Phage.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised he wouldn't just pick up a Ruby and then go Stinger, or just outright Stinger, because he already has Rage passive.
Right. Could be for something else, but we'll just have to see. The mad scientist Nogari will let us know what's going on. But that Sheen can only be 2 things. So at least we know that. Well, 3, I guess. Well, not going to build Lich Bane on the Monkey, though.
Really looks like, I mean, this game's going to just be decided by one fight. Ghost is missing a lot of his HP right now. You can see they're fighting for position. Kana has his ultimate, and so things can get a little bit dicey. Ghost is making his way all the way around. You see, he's still trying to stack his Mirror Mana. And it looks like DWG are just going to start it. Kana has Flash, so he can pull Canyon into the Death Realm.
He can. And I believe DWG know where Canna is as well. Yep, Ward right in that brush. As it looks like it's just going to be a 50-50 as now Canna's going to have his ultimate stolen away. It's actually Faker coming through for the flank. It's Effort. Fate's Call is going to save his life for the moment as Death Realm does come in. Ellen's still looking for that kick target. Can't quite find it as Effort's very, very low. But DWG haven't lost anyone yet. And T1 straight up lose the fight and will lose the Drake.
And that was a really good team fight by DAMWON. They seemed much more aware of what each other wanted to do in that fight. And the other big problem is Mordekaiser's stuck right now, as is Lee Sin on their items. Didn't quite have Black Cleaver yet, didn't quite have Leandri's Torment. And those are pretty important breakpoints. Ghost also did manage to have the Mirror Mana available for the fight. And that's the 3 Drake timing that a lot of Ezreals, they fail to actually get to that for item completion. So Showmaker takes the Death Realm, says, Kana, you're actually coming with me. And so brings Mordekaiser out of the team fight, and then down at the bottom, Nuguri manages to say to Faker, no, you're actually not getting in here with your Nico ultimate. Lee Sin doing Lee Sin things.
It's actually crazy the amount of ultimates that weren't used in that fight. Pop Blossom still remains off cooldown. Cyclone still off cooldown. It was basically just Mordekaiser and Silas fighting one another in their respective Death Realms that they casted on each other. And then everyone jockeying for position and not finding the ideal scenario, which works out in favor of DWG in the end. So very interesting team fight. DWG not going to be the benefactors when it comes to the gold, but picking up that first Ocean Drake could be a sign of things to come and could very much be dangerous here for T1, because the longer DWG delay Soul Point, the better this game is. As XP, Nuguri's 2 levels ahead of Canna right now.
Yeah, Nuguri is so big at this point in the game. And again, the other thing is Nico is about to hit her second bar item, Twin Shadows.
Yep.
Gonna be very obnoxious, but the problem is that there's 3 minutes until Dragon. So even though Nico and Lee Sin are about to hit their next item breakpoints, there was so much downtime for Silas and Ezreal and Wukong to get to their next item breakpoints, which are going to be a little bit more difficult to come by. But that's going to mean that the next Dragon should still go in DWG's favor.
Got a couple of Cyclones coming in here from Nuguri. He's looking to take down Canna. Death's Grasp, though, and that's going to be a turret shot taken. Good flash, but it's not going to be enough. And Showmaker will pop Blossom for the 1-for-1. And actually works out in favor of DWG, given the assist that does go over. But that's going to be Canna picking up a solo kill, so we said that was probably going to happen, and is still going to be the case here. Although not exactly the worst news for DWG. Tempered Fate is going to go wide, as is the Dredge line, as now Magical Journey gets barreled to safety. And DWG, with their disengage, are able to fish for these fights so easily.
Yeah. And DWG right now, they are down about 700 gold. Also remember that Infernal Dragon is very valuable. Showmaker up in top lane, getting a lot of value for himself. No Faker is not level 10. He just is currently cloning someone.
Always very perplexing that changes even in the icons. Canyon just to put down a pillar for fun. I like the Trundle synergy with Bard as well, being able to put up pillars for the Cosmic Bindings. One of those fun interactions. But as you can see, slowly but surely, T1 are getting themselves further and further ahead, currently to the tune of about 800, which I guess isn't the largest of numbers.
Yeah.
Only one turret apiece for both of these teams as well at 21 minutes. Remember, last time we saw DAMWON play, this is when they were winning the game. Like, literally, the game was over as of right now. It's Faker down here on the bottom side. There is a real LM with him, but the decoy is going to come through. And now Nogri's going to take the 2 versus 1. He has no flash, remember. Another Cyclone comes in as, yeah, he's just going to die. There was no follow-up possible.
Yeah.
And maybe he just assumed that he was dead. I'm not entirely sure. There was a lot of people coming down the river.
Yeah, he knew that there was others coming down the river, and so seemingly looked like he just wanted to die now. He'll be up for Ocean Dragon. Not actually going to have the Trinity Force available, though.
Effort going to keep himself alive with his Stone Plate. May not have that one available for the Ocean Drake fight. Teddy's going to get snared, and Ghost is just looking for some extra poke damage. Does find it here as Faker.
Yeah.
Split pushing. He seems to be at inner turrets at about the 25-minute mark almost every game as Showmaker's looking for Canner, and he'll find a lot of damage onto this Mordekaiser. It's getting scarier and scarier in this side lane.
And T1 now at a 2,000 gold lead, although Ezreal very close to getting this last turret. Not going to be able to get it, and actually Ghost is going to try to recall and then teleport in. Let's take a look at the fight here.
That
death roam is very weird.
Yeah, I just like his ability to pull him back into the tower range. It's going to make sure that he'll successfully take down that kill. And now we'll watch as Nogri realizes his fate.
Yeah. So he ends up cloning, but he's going the other way. There's no real way for him to get out. He just re-engages. He knows Callista's, I guess, coming down the river. Pretty simple pickup. As we come back into live, though, we got an Ocean Drake fight.
Yep. This is the battle we've been waiting for. Showmaker has a hijacked Death Realm that he's ready to utilize. Teddy pretty close to Death's Dance, which would have been a huge spike for this fight, but unfortunately doesn't have it just yet. DAMWON will take down the Rift Scuttler. You now have permanent vision available, and actually a lot of vision here that T1 are yet to clear eventually. Get rid of that last remaining ward, but DAMWON will return the favor. Looks like this area control working out for DAMWON at the moment. I'm looking for Beryl to actually land a Tempered Fate that's going to change this fight, because we haven't seen too many of them be very effective thus far. Zelem's standing on a ward. It feels like DAMWON do have this area on lockdown. But still, Canyon doesn't have a QSS or anything like that. They're going to have to be very careful of what Cannon's going to be able to do in this fight.
Hook just barely missed. And everyone's just really posturing right now.
And the Bash Brothers here towards the bottom side. That's the scary part. Cannon not going to be able to comfortably flank with Silas and Wukong both in Fog of War. Showmaker comes in, he'll take down that ward.
Beryl
is out of turret, could be in trouble. Tempered Fate might need to be used defensively as Beryl will take himself a magical journey to get out. LM not going to follow him, as you can see.
But they got Canyon Subjugate out, so it's actually a very big victory. Kana.
Alright, he is underneath the turret, will have Death Realm available and will put Nogri inside it as Beryl comes down. Great Cosmic Binding. Cannon's not going to find the Obliterate, but Ellen just destroys the Lee Sin. Canyon gets pushed back as well. That's no jungler. And now T1 are actually going to utilize. All right, okay. Nogri comes in. Pop Blossom not going to do quite enough, but Nogri's not going to complete any kills either. The Showmaker extraordinarily low. And that's not the real Faker, my friend. Kingslayer is good as he steals away the kick onto LM, and Ghost is going to at least take down the Nautilus, but this is a catastrophic fight for DAMWON. T1 really putting themselves in the lead now.
Yeah, and Ezreal trying to stand strong right here. Teleport coming in from Faker.
And this is actually a full health Faker as well, so looks like Ghost is almost definitely going to die here, but you can see they're actually trying to fight this one out. Finally, the Blooming Burst is going to be enough, and now Soul Point will belong to T1.
Yeah, and it is going to be a pretty early, well, not early, I guess. 29, 30 minutes. It's not super early. Never mind. But T1 are in a commanding position now. It's going to be pretty hard for DAMWON to fight that next one, especially Ezreal delayed his next item by a pretty big deal. Pay attention to Beryl, by the way. He had total vision of all of this happening. He just gets completely destroyed. Elam with a very easy kick onto Canyon. And this whole thing is a byproduct of Nuggery and Showmaker just being off doing their own thing.
Yeah, and then the face check at the same time, which was just really strange. Faker's stopwatch, absolutely fantastic in this moment. As Ghost needs to be hitting a few more of these Mystic shots, but honestly, this team fight was already over. Ghost kept himself alive, but not for long enough.
Yep. Goes over, tries to kill Lord Grompulus of Croaksworth.
Yep.
Ends up dying. Does get Faker's flash, though.
Still, Faker probably going to be happy with that one. They guarantee the soul point, and now they're ahead by about 3,500 gold. Death's Dance done on Teddy. Proto Belt built up by Canna, and he's building towards his Nash's Tooth now. I mean, finally, Noguri does pick up his Trinity Force, and we almost have Leandri's on the way for Showmaker. But it's feeling like DAMWON aren't reaching the breakpoints that they're looking for, and T1 are getting scarier and scarier. You can see it in the goal graph here. Very early, it was even, just bouncing back between the two squads, but now it's really getting out of control for DAMWON.
Right now, 3 minutes until the Ocean comes up, and at this point, Faker, it looks like he's going for Death Cap as his next item. And Teddy has the Death Dance complete, has the Executioners, and you can see that Ezreal's itemization also, it's been stifled by the Quicksilver Sash, and like you pointed out, Leandri is coming out for Showmaker soon. But Wukong is kind of stuck now at this point. The Infernal Dragon is doing pretty good amplification for everyone on the side of T1, and all that they need to do now is take the game super slow. They could freeze, they won't. But they could do stuff like that, and it would really force DAMWON's hand. Because DAMWON doesn't really have an ability to do any Baron attempts, anything super fancy, and T1 holds all the cards right now.
Yep, and this is a moment that we all know about T1 as being very, very scary for most teams that are up against them. They don't relinquish control of games like this very often. So you can see Teddy going to clear out this minion wave very comfortably, and now seems like eyes are turning towards the Baron. 2 minutes until that third Ocean Drake is going to be spawning, and Ocean Soul will be on the line for T1. Noguri does still have a gold advantage over Canna. Whether or not that's going to do anything is going to be the question, as we're close to 2,000 gold in the lead for Teddy. It's what happens when he plays Kalista. I'll have to have a look at those CS numbers as well, as Faker going to go aggressive. Finds himself a LM underneath the turret, but no one's going to be buying that one. As now the back is going to be coming in from Showmaker. He has teleport available, but I believe this is going to be Leandri's, and he has completed it. As we move to 1 minute until that Ocean Drake, and every item spike is important here for DAMWON.
Well, this is going to be the do or die. Death Stance on Ezreal is going to be pretty key in this team fight. Looks like even Lee Song is trying to get to it as well.
I mean, again, Teddy's 350 CS at not even 30 minutes yet.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
It happens.
It does. This time around, Canna has been Flame Horizoned by him at about 28 minutes. I think it was a little bit of a shorter time last time. But it just shows that they have been giving a lot of priority over to Teddy, and that he's just very, very good at farming minions. As DAMWON once again in position, as Beryl not going to be kicked back at this stage. Tempered Fate available. In fact, everything is available Summoner Spell-wise for both teams, and every ultimate. He's being thrown around, but none being taken here by LM. And Noguri with Showmaker on the flank. So many of these Sonic Waves are connected.
Yeah.
Actually very impressive here by LM, who's creating a lot of opportunities.
Well, 5 seconds is remaining.
Yep.
As here it is. Now, Death Realm, obviously going to be really scary. All T1 needs to do is get the dragon. If they get the dragon, they will win the game. That is, honestly, that is a pillar of nightmares.
That pillar was absolutely extraordinary. Now, Showmaker does have a Death Realm. They are going to burst down this Drake, but now are they going to be able to win the team fight? The decoy was stunning out of Noguri, and the thieves, DAMWON, are just going to steal away the Drake and make their getaway.
Yeah, and they've bought themselves 5 more minutes now of time for Ezreal to get towards another item, And obviously, Sterix should be able to come in and be completed.
This is huge.
This is a very, very big... Oh, hold on.
Looks for the Pop Blossom, does not find it. It's now a big cooldown that's been utilized. It's now Kana looking for this pincer. Kick back onto Ghost, but it's not going to work out there for T1 as now Noguri has found Teddy in the backline. Massive damage. The exhaust comes through in the end, but Teddy's able to reign supreme with the help of LM. Effort may not be as lucky as Showmaker's fighting. Kana goes golden as he was put into the Death Realm, and Faker's not going to be able to find the snare. Does find the Super Soaker, but it's not quite enough. Is now DWG. It feels like they think they've won the fight, but Ghost looking for this 1v1 against Faker. Kinda sidesteps the Tempered Fate. And DWG can't quite manage to get on top of these T1 members as Faker should be falling down now. That's the real one, and he's going to be going DWG. Do they think that this is time for Baron? That's the big question. The rest of T1 are in the area, and they're not going to let this one start this for free.
Yeah, they need to give the blue over to Ghost. Ezreal is able to carry the team fight. Oh, effort!
Oh no, he is caught out of position. A depth charge picked up on the way as the Magical Journey just might put the rest of T1 in the Death Realm as well. Teddy looking to try and kite this one out. Does get a big rend as True Shot Barrage will be the end of that Kalista. Damn, he played that one out as much as he possibly could. But DWG will be able to pick that one up. It actually was such a decisive win for DWG that it caused a sneeze in my co-commentator.
Yeah. I got allergic right there.
Yeah, allergic reaction to incredible team fighting.
Did that come out on mic?
No, just I don't.
Oh, okay.
I could hear it because I have ears in this room, but I don't think so.
Perfect.
As DWG should be able to take down this Baron, and this is eerily reminiscent of the matchup at MSC, right? Like, it was a game that T1 were in control of and then lost control in this more late game stage. Comps certainly dictate that DWG should be doing well in that department.
Yeah. Around the stage of the game is the tipping point for DWG to start coming in and taking things over. I mean, look at Lee Sin. He is it is so impossible for him to find a kick target. And aside from that, he's just safeguarding teammates. That is all that the champion does at this point. And even when you get a kick target, it's not real, because there's no one to really kick at this point in the game. Kana tried to do a really good job taking down Showmaker. Faker came back in, missed the Tangling Barbs onto him. Even if he hits it, I'm not sure what happens next. And you can see T1, they're coming over here, and I don't know for what reason, because there's never a world where they can actually contest. So they already knew that they were on Baron. Even the Lee Sin bug, not actually going to help.
I didn't notice Showmaker like entering the stratosphere as well. It was one of the biggest knockups we've ever seen. But we've got a team fight happening right here. Death Charge going to come through. Death Grasp is fantastic as Ghost does have QSS. Teleports coming through everywhere as Cannon's being bounced around in the bouncy castle. It is DWG's team comp. Death Realm is going to save him for the moment as in goes Showmaker. Pop Blossom finds no one though as the Fate's call is just fantastic. But Noguri will find the Cyclone and DWG will find the team fight. Faker gets a Pop Blossom, and is it going to be Teddy's time to shine? He decides that it isn't as the flash forward from Beryl. Can they get on top of him? They can. And DWG will take down T1 around their own inhibitor turret. That's the ace, and this may be game.
No, this is absolutely going to be game. They have 4 members remaining, and that's going to end T1's blue side streak.
Oh, wow. What a gigantic victory for DWG as they do take down these Nexus turrets very comfortably. It was back and forth. But in the end, DWG find the team fights. And this is going to be huge for DWG's momentum. My goodness.
Well, that is very big for DWG as they now go over to the blue side. Ghost doing phenomenal in that game.
This is almost a Ghost POG.
I
don't know. Maybe?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. On Ezreal. Well, T1, I don't want to say it was impossible for them to win this game, because obviously it was. They had that Ocean Soul Point Drake stolen underneath their nose.
Yep.
After having more than enough time to prepare. They had the advantages very, very slightly in the early game. They got the first 2 dragons. They got an Infernal, which was really helpful for them. But weren't able to convert it into anything. B1 Kalista, R2 or B2 Lee Sin.
Yeah, I like.
Did end up coming back to bite them.
Yeah, it did. It did. But I think it did work when they needed it to, but unfortunately they weren't able to capitalize on the advantages that they had quite enough. So I'm not going to condemn the draft completely, but still, it didn't necessarily work out. And if Faker's Pop Blossom had have worked just that little bit better, it would have been so impressive. And we're going to be able to have a look at it yet again as Effort comes in and looks to try and close distance onto Ghost. You saw exactly what they were trying to do, but kind of just got poked out.
Take a look at Showmaker. I mean, Lee Sin kicks the Wukong, but nothing ends up happening. And at this point, the Pop Blossom comes out. Teddy with a really, really good ultimate to save Effort. They lock down Showmaker, but the Zhonya's, it's just so hard. Everything falls on Kalista in the team fights. And everything is very scary. There's not a reliable way to stay on to Ezreal. It looks like Teddy was maybe going to be able to have enough Ren stacks to bring down Canyon and maybe Showmaker, but not quite in the end.
And that was double stopwatch as well out from Showmaker that he'd saved for this team fight. So spent a lot of his time golden. You can see Teddy did everything he possibly could on the Kalista. His Kalista remains to be fantastic, but it just wasn't quite enough. And DAMWON, they just waited it out, found their item spikes, found their power spikes when it comes to their team composition, and were able to come out ahead.
Yeah. And now, moving over to the blue side, T1 historically has had a much rougher time on red.
Yeah.
And how are they going to utilize the counter picks? That's going to be a pretty big question.
And I think that DAMWON are pretty happy to blind a lot of their champions into any team as well. They're just very confident at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really rough. Both of these teams haven't lost on blue side, maybe until today, if T1 can fight back in game 2.
The other thing is that, remember, Wukong came in blind, and the answer to it was the Mordekaiser.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen Mordekaiser's not necessarily work out. I think he was like 3 and 6 or something so far. He's certainly not working for any of our teams.
He's very trash. I think that it really is like a solo queue thing. It's a solo queue thing or it's a scrim thing where teams don't play the same in scrims as they do on stage. Things are very different because of the environment and the atmosphere as well as the reasons. So sometimes really bad champions end up getting picked a lot, and even though they're very reliant on opponents' mistakes.
Yeah, and we have to remember LS is a massive fan of Mordekaiser as a champion.
I am.
Just unfortunately, he's just not quite up to snuff here in the LCK.
I one-tricked him. He was my most played champ. He was my first champ.
Mine too. I mean, I was playing him from season 2 to 4 almost exclusively, a very long time. So don't worry, I love him as well. But he's just not right at the moment. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll see whether he's going to make a return in game number 2 as T1 attempts to fight back and bring us to match point. We'll see whether we get 3 games after the break.
얘들아 조심 물리는 거.
빨리 안
정렬 일로 일로 일로.
안 물려.
봐줘.
아, 이치 봐도.
야, 할만해.
아, 천천히.
야 끌려.
야, 봐봐.
아 나가봤다.
네, 봐야 돼. 야, 할만해.
아 얘네 도망가다. 모대장 도망가. 모대장.
아, 파울에 볼래 이거?
모대 나온다.
보내 잡았어.
나안 죽거든. 오케이.
야, 리진.
야,
앞으로.
끝내. 칼리.
야.
아,
얘들아 그만 가.
천천히 달리네.
아, 볼말.
칼리. 일로 와. 이겼다.
아, 이겼다.
나이스.
아, 존버 성공했다. 땀.
이러.
끝내.
난 앞으로만 가지.
역전. 아, 존버.
아 오늘 잘했다 마지막에.
너 돈까스 좋아해?
존버의 담원.
너 돈까스 좋아해?
존버의 담원인데 이거.
난 앞으로만 가지.
아니, 재미없긴 하다 이런 조합하니까.
우사인 볼트가 왜 세상에서 제일 빠른 줄 알아요?
개 노잼이긴 하다. 아, 20분 동안 정글만 먹고 있지.
나이스.